Good.
Come on, Ellie, in here.
So I'm starting that. I'm afraid we're not really open for browsing. We're going to have a program. We're not really open for browsing until noon. We have a program starting, and you can't really get to the kids' books. So can you come back a little later in the day?
That's cool, man.
All right, great.
How you been?
Thanks a lot. I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
You? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Wait, can I request a book?
What is the book?
Do you have the fourth Harry Potter?
Yeah, I probably do. I'll look for it. So stop back by later.
We'll have to come by later, kiddo.
I'll look for it.
Thanks, man.
You bet. All right.
I'm in San Francisco right now.
And you can take it away.
Hey, good morning. My name's Greg Abate, and I'm here at Bird and Beckett bookstore in San Francisco, talking about jazz improvisation, harmony, and other things that go along with touring and playing music, playing jazz all over the world. But I'm here today, and tonight I'm doing a concert here with Ben Stoller Trio. And to begin with, I'd like to just say that jazz is an American art form, and it's really intricate, like a science if you look at it that way, mathematically, and also you know emotionally, and it has a lot of different aspects. For jazz, it's not just playing anything. It's something that has to be pertaining to the harmony of the particular song, or reading. You have the metric measurements of reading notes, and so putting that all together, it takes a while to get that, so you can play with other people and have a good time, and to express yourself with either the American songbook songs, which are thousands of songs, or if you want to write tunes on your own, you have to have a harmonic sense of what goes on with the keys. There's 12 keys in music, major and minor, and then you have a lot of different chords, which are minor sevenths, dominant sevenths, and there's different chords as well as diminished and augmented chords. So I could demonstrate some of those chords to you on the piano to let you see what the chords sound like. So this a major chord, a triad is basically 3 notes. So we're working the key of C. So C, the 3rd, 5th. So that's basically triad that you heard. It's a cool sound. seventh to it, you get this. That gives it a little more tension, as it were. So you've got maybe more of a. So, of course, I'm playing the piano, usually 88 keys, and there's 13 notes in the scale. So chromaticism is a half tone. So we have half tones in our music system here. So one chord. If I go up to the D flat, so half step up, do the same thing. All major 7 chords sound the same, only there's a different measurement in where you are at the time. I messed that one up. Those are all major 7 chords. There's no minor involved there at all. So just we'll stick with the major 7 right now. But if I'm playing a melody on my saxophone with the piano chords, if I just give you an example, like the major scale of C is the key of A on the alto. So the alto saxophone is in the key of E flat. So it's if you're playing a C on the piano, I'd be playing an A on my horn. See, if I play a C like the piano, it's not going to be the right note. Totally off. So here's the major 7 chord of C. So that doesn't sound like a jazz lick or anything, but here would be using those notes. If I do it in D flat, I would be in B flat. Now, I just played a busier line because in jazz you have different licks, as they say, fast, slow, medium, and expression is important. As you know, as I've been playing, since 9th grade in junior high school, and before that in elementary school, so I've had a lot of experience playing and recording with some great iconic musicians like Phil Woods, Claudio Ruditi, and Kenny Barron, just to name a few. There's been many more, but so I mean it's hard to explain the whole spectrum of improvisation, this one thing, but I wanted to just start with that, with the major chord, so you can hear the difference in the sound. Now a minor 7 chord has a flat 3 and a flat 5. That's a minor 7, flat 5, excuse me. A minor 3 and a minor 7. So when you have the major chord, right, here it is. Minor 7 would be 1 flat 3, 5 flat 7. That's really a cool sound. Summertime, and it's a minor tune. So I was playing in F minor there. C minor. F minor. Back to C minor. So it's infinite. Is that there are infinite choices. It's like numbers. You can put numbers in so many different ways. Like 2, 4, 6, 8 could go. You could do that infinitely. Infinitely. Changing the numbers. So I would, if I go up a fourth, it'll be a perfect fourth. I'll put a chord with each of those. I'm doing major sevens. I'm not a piano player. I'm just a functional pianist. That's why sometimes it's always a challenge to play piano, but I'm basically an alto saxophonist, and I play all the reeds on tenor saxophone, baritone, soprano, clarinet, and flute, which I have today. I'll be showing you a few things on that. But there's not many questions today, but it's cool. I'm having a good time being here at Bird and Beckett. It's great. Now, I'm sure you've heard of blues. Like, blues is basically a form, and it's like the one chord would be a dominant seventh, which is 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Hear the difference? That's dominant. This is major. This is minor. Minor 7, flat 5. Flat at the 5th. Augmented. Sharp 5. So those are the. I'll review those chords later just to give you the numbers on how you would flat or sharp a note. But basically, if you want to play these chords, you would have to know the major scales of. There's 12 major scales, so you would use the 1, the 3rd, and the 5th for the triad, and then you could add the 7th. 7. So it's like. Right? So you pick the first, the 1, 3, 5, 7. So you can play that chord even if you're not a good piano player. You could just play those and hear the chord. And then, if you wanted to improvise, you could use the notes in that scale. Right? I keep hitting a wrong note here and there, but that's, if I'm playing jazz and I hit a wrong note, what you do is you try to get out of it or play it like you mean it, so it doesn't sound like you're making a mistake. So if I did that again. See that note there? I would resolve it down to the proper note so it wouldn't sound like a wrong note. Understand? Okay. So that was the major 7. So you do that in all the keys, up a half step now, etc. So minor 7, you do the same thing. You would play the major scale. Minor 7. 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. Minor 7, flat 5. 1, 3, flat 5, flat 7. Augmented. 1, 3, sharp 5, major 7. A dominant seventh augmented would have the flat 7. I like to demonstrate this thing, the whole tone scale is another scale that is a whole step for each note apart. Let's see. It's like the tune "You're the Sunshine of My Life" is not a jazz tune, but Stevie Wonder wrote some great tunes. In this one here, he actually uses the whole tone scale in his introduction to, this one, "You're the Sunshine of My Life." So it starts off with a C major 7 chord, then a G augmented, and it goes on to the tune. So it's like I'm playing in the key of C, but A on the alto. It's really cool. So if you're really into it, you can practice a lot of things. Okay, you can go get your technique books and you play those. And you look at chord books and you play those on your instrument. So if I'm playing the chords on my saxophone like I did on the piano. Major 7 chords, 1, 3, 5, and major 7. Etc. etc. So that's the major 7, minor 7. Minor 7 chord. You've heard jazz tunes with that sound, I'm sure, maybe. So that a lot of tunes they'll have a vamp for a minor 7, and the bass of the piano might be playing this. They're like. So I'm going 8 bars, 8 measures of 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, etc. to 8. And then it's going to change key to some place where I'm going to be doing an E major 7 after the C minor. So listen to the texture of these 2 chords. And if I change the key again, I'm going to play B minor on the piano, which would be G sharp minor for me. I'll descend from that chord. I'll be B minor to E major to C minor. The chords don't have to be any particular order. Like classical music, usually the chords go in an order where they'll resolve in the way, the particular style of some classical musicians, will be going in the way of harmonic continuity, where it'll be like, you'll know that the resolution is going to come up to be like, or it's like, it's an obvious, 5/7 to 1. for you jazz people that know the theory, it's like 5/7 to 1, which is like 5/7, right? But like if I have that 5 chord, it wants to go. You think it's you can hear it, right? You hear that it has a tritone, which is like based on the 3rd and 7th. It's a traditional resolution. The tritone is like in every dominant chord, which would be the 3rd and the 7th of the dominant, which would be, the major 3rd in the flat 7. So G7 would be B, D, F, and D, and B. So you got G, B, D, F, and the F and the B form the tritone that resolves. It's a traditional, but if I have the G7 going to E major, you wouldn't expect that. And that's called in jazz like a deceptive cadence, which, when I went to Berklee School of Music, I was there for 4 years and I just studied jazz harmony, improvisation. And my whole days were just based on music and theory and the history of jazz, and it was really great. I know just doing this, I never prepare like totally about what I'm going to say in a workshop, so this is not premeditated. Of course, you can tell because I'm doing things and making some mistakes. But in jazz, nothing's perfect, but you learn how to make it like be fun and also creative for your audience. The main thing, it's not all playing for yourself all the time, but I do play for myself, and by playing for myself sincerely, the audience can feel it. I've been doing this for so long that it's so great. It's a gift to have music, but like harmony is really infinite. But I'm just giving you a little bit of a taste of the chords, because I don't know who's out there listening, but if you ever want to get in touch with me or here at Bird and Beckett, you can contact Eric here, or you can, send me an email, and I'll get right back to you, because when I'm in touch with a person directly with music, we can really get into it. And my email is Greg on Alto at Gmail. So it's G-R-E-G-A-L, Greg on Alto, G-R-E-G on Alto at gmail.com. So the alto is, let me talk more about the alto a little bit. Push this mic back here. So the alto sax is in the key of E flat, and the lowest note on the saxophone is B flat, whether it be tenor or baritone, soprano, or alto. But this B flat on the alto, that's the lowest note on the alto, and it's D flat concert, because I mentioned that it has to be a major sixth above the root. So I'm playing a D flat on the piano. So it's B flat on the alto. On the tenor sax, though, the B flat would be an A flat on the piano. I haven't got my tenor here, so you can't really hear the tenor, of course, but it would be a B flat as well. So there's like the different saxophones. You have a tension of the different timbre of the different saxophones. When you have a saxophone section, you've got like usually traditionally in the big bands like Jimmy Dorsey, Glenn Miller, Buddy Rich, Woody Herman had a different setup, but it's 5 saxes, and so it would be like alto sax, alto, tenor sax 2, and then baritone. So I've got, I'll tell you an example. This recording that I did with Kenny Barron. It was done in last September, and I did a lot of arranging during the COVID, so I was home from March 13th of 2000, doing a lot of writing for this recording, and I ended, the producer of the recording asked if I could do some overdubs. So on 2 of the songs, I used 5 saxes, and I did, 1 track, and then I went back and overdubbed the whole sax section. On this particular record, Magic Dance with Kenny Barron, and the other one was soprano lead, and then alto, tenor, baritone. So I just wanted to mention that, because it is done when, you can overdub yourself over and over as many times as you want to. So the flute, I have a C flute with a low B, and like it's basically that's low B, and the flute is the same in concert as would be guitarist concert instrument C. So it's in the key of C. So if I play the C on the piano, there's no transposition with the flute. It's like concert. So if I did that, I'm practicing that major scale lick. Only the thing I did difference here is like I went back to the seventh on it. So I got 1 3 5 7 5 3 1 7 like this. So you could, if I do the double octave, so that's the key of C with the chord. Let's see if this picks up. B major 7. I'm using a little bit of vibrato on that, as you can see. Vibrato would be like a wave in the tone, like a. So it's like a straight tone, of course, would be no wave at all. Vibrato. So with the saxophone, it's the same. You can use vibrato or straight tone. Straight tone. Vibrato. I can make that wave faster or slower. In the 20s and 30s, 1920s and 30s, the swing bands, the big bands, they would the style of vibrato was really fast, so they would be playing like. I'm just playing something with String of Pearls, right? So it's like, but as time moved on, the jazz players, the vibrato slowed up. It went something like this. It wasn't. And a lot of times, the solos had a lot of vibrato in it too. And before bebop, the swing era, they didn't use any tensions really in the solos. Tensions are like 9s, 11s, and 13ths. Example, on the minor 7 chord, if I put the 9 in, right, the 9 adds tension to it. I like it because it gives it a little tension. So 1 3 5, 1 flat 3, 5 flat 7. Add the 9th. You hear that? That's really, it's more tense than a triad. You get a triad. Remember, I said that 3 notes in minor is a self 1 flat 3 5. Add the 7th, which is the flat 7th. Add the 9th. Now add the 11th, the 4th, and add the 6th or the 13th. You get this. That's like, you know, Miles Davis used this chord, John Coltrane. This is like, you can hear it, listen. It's very thick, you know? See that? Now, there's also another chord I left out it's a pretty cool chord. It's the minor major seventh. It's a minor triad with a major seventh, and it sounds like this. This is really, this chord is used a lot. So it'll be a melodic minor scale. You know, assuming that you might know these scales, and like, so that would be the minor major seventh, which uses the melodic minor, which is the natural sixth and seventh, both directions. Whereas the classical, the classical, the composers in the classical music used that going up as natural 6 and 7, and coming down with flat 6 and 7. So here would be the scale. That would be the traditional melodic minor, but the jazz melodic minor, the jazz players chose to keep it natural in both ways. So it would be like. So you can do that in all keys too. A lot of tunes have all tunes have different forms of chord changes in them. So if you are improvising on a tune and you have different chords that move 4 beats a piece, or 2 beats a piece, or 1 beat a piece, you have that. You have to have the scales that will seam through the chord changes. Like so if you, it's hard to explain doing both at once, but like, just if you can just see, like, you have a chord, like you have different chords like this. I'll just do right, and then I'll go modulate to another key. What I'm doing there is playing 2-5-1 in jazz. That's the you know, really important chord change. You got the one key, says key of C, so you would play key of C, and then you do 2-5 back to C. Now, so if I want to go to the key of F after the C, I would go C, D minor, 2 minor 7, 5, 7, 1, and then I'm going to modulate to the key of F, 2, 2, 5, 1, and then 2, 5 in A, B minor, to the key of D, back to C, 2, 5. So like, if I'm playing on these changes, the changes would be like in, say, I'll do like a walking bass, with the bass player plays on the same chord changes as the piano, and bass can do you know, fifths, or can walk. You know, a walking bass within the chord. So C major 7, walking bass to F, E flat. You know, there's a continuous thing, or Latin. So each one of these chords would be a scale, But if you're improvising through it, you don't want to play do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do on everything because it won't sound like jazz. You have to take that scale and try to invent some intervals, like, major seconds, thirds, fourths, so the chord would have some texture and not all sound like a scale, which is like, okay, but if I did that, but if I did this, space, another chord comes around, and then if it goes, see, I'm using all different kind of licks because it's infinite. Now, saying that, just the chords are going by, the rhythm section's playing, so like these things keep going, and I'll be playing on the chords, and I'll be playing with some space, and I'll be playing the licks in the scale, or I will play some things that are out of the scale to make it sound like really dissonant. So in jazz, it's like pretty infinite. It's like creating in the moment. It's not like premeditative, like where you say, well, in the beginning, when I started improvising, when I play a tune, I knew what was safe, and I'd say, well, I'm going to play this because I know it's going to be hip sounding. I'll play a lick there, and like sometimes it's just like also with an audience you're playing for, sometimes the person likes a certain tune and knows it's out there, and you'll quote a tune on top of another tune, because they all have similar chords at times, and like you can put another song on top of the same changes, which was something I was going to get involved in this in a little while, talking about bebop, because like maybe we'll use the standard tune like Back Home in Indiana, which is like a real like Dixieland swing tune, and then the iconic innovators of bebop were mainly Bud Powell, Charlie Parker, and Dizzy Gillespie, and that era there where they came out of the swing era, because they had these particular musicians were like they were very disciplined in playing, like really, really proficient, and they wanted to extend themselves in solos, because playing in the big bands, they were like just short solos, and evolved into these quartets and quintets. So Charlie Parker wrote a lot of tunes, on tunes that were already established as standards, and he'd write melodies that were very busy, that sounded like a solo, but they were just the melody. And so there was a lot, like I could play like probably a dozen in a row here, but I'm just going to stay on one. Like this one here, because this really complex melody on top of this. So this is the tune. I can't play both at once, but... So this would be Back Home in Indiana, right? You could improvise on that, like just without Charlie Parker's head saying Charlie Parker's melody. I'll play that afterwards, but I'll just play on the chords without a piano player or anybody, because I'm by myself. But like you could do this too. It's like when my teacher at Berkeley, I had great teachers like Joe Viola and Charlie Mariano, and and they were way above me coming out of high school, going into Berkeley, but they would have me play solos just unaccompanied, and like it's really hard, so you have to keep the harmony in your head and play on the chords without any accompanist. So it's like if I play on this one, I hope you can remember the melody a little bit, but here we go. I'm playing on the chords without any of the harmony. Now, Charlie Parker's head is written out on sheet of music, and it's played by jazz musicians, and the melody goes like this. Then you would solo after that. So this is all written down, so you would be playing that. Say, alto, if you had a trumpet player with you, it would be two horns playing that. It's really, really powerful. And then you got the driving rhythm section, you know. So that's an example of a really fast bebop tune. And there's a tune called Honeysuckle Rose. There's another one. I'm taking these old standards. It's like this thing. Bridge. See, the tune on that would be Scrapple from the Apple. Charlie Parker wrote this melody on that. And this is like the bebop version of a tune that Charlie Parker wrote down on a piece of paper, maybe on a bus, on a napkin, write it in a bus somewhere, and going to a gig. So here it is. On the bridge, though, he leaves it blank for improvisation. So it'd be like, the bridge would be a rhythm change bridge, which is like, I Got Rhythm changes. Like, there's so much to talk about, but Gershwin wrote this tune, I Got Rhythm. You know, this one here. And then the bridge is what I'm going to be playing here. So getting back to the Scrapple tune. I was improvising on the bridge. Millie. Or, but Charlie Parker does this. And there's an intro to it using the minor 7 with the tensions. This is how it goes. So it goes into that, and at the ending, it goes the same way. But then they'll resolve it to major 7. Hear the difference? It's minor. Any questions? It's really. I'm getting on a roll here. Yeah. I'm doing this and I'm thinking like, how do I form this so it's in the simplicity, because it's as complicated music, and I'm trying to explain it more, giving examples, but it's really difficult. But like maybe there's a standard tune like in bossa nova, you know, Carlos like Antonio Carlos Jobim wrote a lot of tunes, beautiful tunes, and of course Stan Getz played a lot, great tenor saxophonist, and like one note samba. I was I'll play the chords on that on the piano, but it's like all the chords are different in this tune, but like it'll be like. That was the A C, and the bridge is different. 2/5 to D flat, E flat minor 7, A flat 7, D flat, and then it goes C sharp minor 7, F sharp dominant 7th to B major 7, and then 2/5 to back to the head. One note samba, so it's like the melody's like. That's why it's one note samba. I'll play the. Bridge. Be like without the chord. So the bridge, 2/5-1. Get my horn here. So if I'm playing, I'll play that tune. So you heard the melody. So it's like the beginning. Bridge. So that's what I played on the piano, remember? That was the 2/5 to 1, and then so I'll play it on the bridge. Back to the A section of the head melody. Improvisation on the tune. So I'm playing like I'm improvising on the changes and without accompanying someone accompanying me, which is like there's someone here, but it's not really coming out. But I'm hearing the chords in my head. There's another thing. I was trying to think about talking about taking a little break here to think about how I'm going to talk about the blues. There's major blues and minor blues. It's just, you can get this if you can just realize that the major blues is all dominant chords, and the minor blues are minor 7 chords. So the blues form is 1 chord C7. 4 bars of the 1 chord. 4 chord. 1 chord. 5 chord. 12 bar blues. It's like so walking bass. Major blues, all dominant chords, but the form is usually, the basic form is like 4 bars of the 1 chord, 4 measures, then 2 measures of the 4 chord, 2 bars of the 1 chord, 2, and then the 5 chord, 2, 1 bar, 4, 1 for 2 bars. So the blues has that form, so you get used to the harmonic movement of that. And when you play on it, you can play an improvisation on basically different scales. There's different scales you can use. One scale on each of the chords, or you can use a pentatonic scale, which is a 5-note chord. Usually, the minor pentatonic is what you want. It's like the 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. See, it's quite a nice lick for just 5 notes, and it's like theory. Theory was like music was played first, and then the theory books were written after, because most of the innovators of jazz would play this stuff right off the heads. It was something that was a natural feeling from the person's emotion and whatever. A lot of music is a spiritual release of beliefs of the human being that's playing the music, and everybody contributed so much to it. And then the theory books were written, many theory books, and there's all different types of theory and thinking about different ways to get to a certain point. But like the most important is you take all that theory, and then you learn it and get it inside you, and then you just disregard it and become like a voice of you play the music like you would be speaking. And like the way I speak, my verbal speech is like somehow how I play my horns, but I think I play my horns better than I really can speak. So that's my gift, I think. But now that was the major blues. Minor blues is this sound. Nice to play on, because you can have a good time with that if you just know these 4 and 5 notes. Listen to this. I'm sorry, I'm not a piano player. I cheated there. I used the blues scale, which is almost a minor pentatonic, but it's got an extra note. It's got a sharp 4 that goes to the 5 instead of the 4 to the 5. It's this. This is like the blues scale. The scale is intense. You go to a high school and like you teach the band the blues scale, and you got like 20 kids there playing this, trombones, saxophones, and flutes, whatever. It's like a big blues scale coming at you. But this is the thing. See, that's what I say. You teach this, and like to make the music, you have to take that internally and use this. Now that's the minor pentatonic, and here's the blues scale. Similar. Here's the lick. So the same scale on the dominant and major blues. Minor. I tend to go for the minor keys more personally. I like to play on the minor keys. And there's so many different chord formations that are, if you look at the different volumes of the real book, it's like those have basically the tunes of many great artists, and you can like absorb some of the harmonic things that are really good to know in all different tunes. You can't learn everything, and a lot of times I learn a tune and I try to remember it if I haven't played it for a while, but then it comes back. And like certain tunes are really more difficult to play on, like Giant Steps and John Coltrane. But there's a lot of tunes that you can play on, like the minor, that really is a lot easier to get around. But when you're playing on a Giant Steps tune, you got like two chords per measure, and they go in an order which is like really fast too. So it's like Giant Steps is like an innovative tune that John Coltrane wrote, and a lot of times John Coltrane changes are used as reharmonizations in a lot of other tunes where you can hear here and there. But basically, you're playing on a major chord for 2 beats. Sorry, B major 7, and then he goes to D dominant 7, and then to a 5/7 chord, another 5/7, then a 2 minor 7 5/7. So another major chord, dominant, major 7 chord, 2-5-1, 2-5-1 in G, 2-5-1 in B, 2-5-1 in E flat, 2-5-1 in B. So you're playing on all those, and the tempo's like, you know, it's like really. Let me see if I can do this. Be the chords. The melody is like this. Let's see. The melody, and it can be done in a Latin style, or it can be done swing. And if you do it in Latin, you got a lot more space to improvise, and to feel like you can have some time on the chords, like this. first chord is the B major 7. There's only 2 beats though. Before it goes to 1, 2, 3, 4. The second chord is D7. So you have to change keys within the B to the D7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, G. There's like every chord has a different scale and different scale on the chord. So to seam that together, it's complicated, and to remember that, it's really fast. And like sometimes a tune like that, you end up playing some of the same licks because it's hard to like change in that fast motion, you know. Whereas a tune like, I'll do one more bop tune. Maybe Confirmation is a classic hit, and then has a lot of 2/5s, and also a tune by Kenny Barron called Voyage, which has a lot of changes that are different than a Giant Steps tune. Confirmation is, the melody is... Excuse me. Let me get this right. I'm kind of like still jet lagged a little bit, but no excuse. It's Confirmation. So the chords on this one are kind of complicated. Let's see. There's a lot of chords in jazz music, and like it's really complicated. But the piano is good to get a grasp of harmony. Like if you play it slowly, I'm doing it a little bit faster than I'm capable of, but I'm trying to get the tempo right on the piano, so I can give an idea because of the practice that involves doing all the instruments. But like if you get the chords like I was suggesting, you get a harmony book and look at the one chord, like the major 7 chord. Minor 7 chord, dominant, diminished, augmented. You got a lot of different chords and things to look at. But I didn't talk about diminished because there's a lot of different scales in diminished, which is like a whole step, half step scale that's symmetrically built. So it's always a whole step, whole step, half step. Whole step, half step, half step, whole step, half step, 1. So it's like this is the chord. Oh, it's the stain pedal. A lot of times diminished is used always on diminished chords. What was that? Oh, is it something up? I thought I heard something feedback. But one more time, diminished chords. There's 12 chords on everything, so you have like, just like any other chord. But the diminished chord is also used on dominant 7th chords, so really quickly, to demonstrate that, if I have a C7 chord with a flatted 9th in it, I can use a diminished scale a whole step below the root of C, which would be B flat. So the scale would be B flat diminished on a C7, not a C diminished. A C diminished would have a C diminished scale, but this is a C dominant 7 flat 9 with a B flat diminished. I think it's a great scale because like it's got a lot of tension in it. It has like a flat 9 in it, flat 5, and a 13. I wish I could ask for questions.
Why don't you take 10 minutes to sort of
All right.
to bring it around.
Cool. I wish there was some questions I could answer live, but I guess there's not many questions today. But I'm here at Bird and Beckett Books and Music on I think it's 615 Chenery Street. 653 Chenery Street, San Francisco. In Glen Park, Northern Glen Park. Tonight we'll be having a concert.
Yeah. You want to say anything final about theory, or you want to just tell them what your tour's like right now, and
Okay.
10 minutes of just wrap up on
Sorry, I made some mistakes on the chords and stuff, but I can do it.
Yeah.
I'll just say, if there's any questions, you can email me, and I'll talk about my tour a little bit.
Okay.
Hey, well, I wanted to say it was great to meet with you today. I hope I get some response, maybe some questions. And there's a lot to talk about, and I'm doing this live, of course. And tonight I'll be here at Bird and Beckett. Tonight is October 16th, and we'll be here at 7:30 tonight with the Ben Stolarow Trio. From here, I'll go to I'll be playing tomorrow in Palo Alto for the Palo Alto Jazz Society, and then I'm going back to Rhode Island, where I live in New England, and then I'll be going to England on October 27th to the November 22nd, doing tours and one-night gigs with different trios, mostly every night except a few here and there. So that's going to be my tour coming up, and I look forward to seeing you all and hearing from you. Have a good musical experience in jazz.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.